What's up, guys? It's me, Grey Wolf. I'm back to do another video for you. This video is actually going to be a trial and hopefully successful demonstration of this Corrosion X HD, or Heavy Duty Corrosion X. I've seen a lot of videos. For the longest time I've been using liquid tape and Plastidip to waterproof electronics and servos and whatnot. But the one drawback to that, especially when you're dealing with ESCs, is the rubberized coating has a tendency to trap heat in. So I've seen this stuff, or actually most of what you see, in fact everything that I've seen on YouTube is the standard version of Corrosion X, but I got to watching some videos on it, and I saw many successful demonstrations using the regular Corrosion X to waterproof electronics, and got to researching it some, and I found the heavy duty stuff, which actually says non-hardening thick film coating. So that's pretty much the difference. This stuff is thicker, and it's supposed to apparently Corrosion X actually bonds with with metal. Any kind of metal that it comes into contact with, it bonds to it, and that's why. And it also displaces water, which is how it stops things from rusting, which is primarily what this is made for. But the added benefit is, since it bonds to metal and repels water, or displaces water, apparently people are using it to waterproof their electronics. So anyway, I figured, when I started looking into Corrosion X, I was like, well, that it would be, if it really works as good as all these videos are saying, it would be cool to use, because it seems like there would be a lot less heat buildup, or there would be a lot less heat trapped by this, thin coating of Corrosion X compared to a thick coating of, rubber, basically. So I figured, well, if this, forms a thicker barrier than the regular stuff, it's just that much more protection, right? So I don't know, we're gonna give it a try. I'm gonna waterproof my Mamba Monster Max that's in my high-speed Rustler. Although I've currently transformed my Rustler into a snowmobile of sorts for the winter, which is why I'm waterproofing it. So we're going to try this, and then I'm going to demo it by dunking it in water and seeing if it really stands up to what to what all the claims are on the internet. So let's just get at this. By the way, Corrosion X is also a lubricant, so be careful where you spray it. You wouldn't want to, if you were waterproofing some electronics, let's say a nitro, for example. One particular thing I can think of that you wouldn't want to do is get it inside of your clutch. But if you've never taken your Mamba Monster Max apart before, which I've only done once, well, technically twice. This is the second time I've taken it apart. I thought about waterproofing it a while back using the regular Plastidip stuff, or liquid tape rather, I'm sorry. But I decided against it. I put it back together, and anyway, I've taken it apart again here. I'm going to switch to the overhead view so you guys can see. If you've never taken one apart, I've already got this apart, but if you've never taken one apart, there's basically 4 holes. There's 2 holes here in this side and 2 holes on the other side, and basically you kind of got to be careful. I accidentally broke off one of my little clips in there, but you basically just take a screwdriver and press it, press that clip in, and you also have to cut the label, the stickers on the sides, like right here. where the seam is, you got to take an X-Acto knife and make sure you cut all the way, you know, any labels on both sides. And then this one here I just peeled it up, but you can cut it or peel it up or whatever. But at any rate, that will just pop off like that. We'll set that aside for now. Then this part here, the whole circuit board actually just pops up out of this case. Kind of got to push the positive and negative wires through, and then it'll just come out. And then the fan actually plugs in right here on the bottom of the circuit board, and you'll have to unplug this, which is kind of hard to get a hold on because it's so small. But anyway, once you get it unplugged, just kind of move the top of the casing and the fan out of the way, and then we're just gonna spray it down here in this little Tupperware thing real good with some Corrosion X, and hopefully we'll get some really good results. This stuff is actually a lot thicker than I even thought it was. And I'm kind of doing this, it might be hard to see because my BEC and the switch and everything for this controller are all connected to the chassis of the Rustler with glue, and I really don't want to rip it all up there just to demo it, so I'm trying to do this right beside the kit, which is proving a little difficult. There's actually a sticker on this circuit board that you have to carefully remove. Coat it to the bottom of it here. Now, a lot of the demos that you'll see on the internet show them using the regular Corrosion X, and it shows them dunking the whole ESC down inside the Corrosion X. So I don't think you have to be particularly careful where you get this stuff. It's really foamy. That's about as covered as it's going to get. It's kind of messy actually using the spray can. I looked for the regular, like a regular bottle of it, like you see them using the, you know, the regular version, but I guess for some reason they don't have the heavy duty stuff in the regular bottle size. I'm just kind of cleaning up here some of the overspray. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to let this sit for a good 10 minutes or so before I actually try to dunk it in any water. Yeah, I'm a little puzzled actually, because being an aerosol can, it's actually produced a lot of bubbles, a bubbly foam, kind of, over this whole thing. And I don't really want it to dry that way, although it's supposed to be non-hardening, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. I hope I'm not screwing up a $200 ESC. Well, 150 on eBay, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm gonna let it sit here for a few and maybe try to get some of these air bubbles out of here. Might hit it with a little bit of compressed air or something, just to kind of get the bubbles down. Although a lot of the bubbles, actually, now that I'm watching it, and I don't know if this is really showing up on camera or not, but a lot of the bubbles are actually dissipating as I'm sitting here watching it. So there might not be a big need to do a whole lot to it. But we'll see. We'll be back and we'll test it and see if it actually works. Who knows? You guys might get to see me fry it. I'll be back. Alright, we're back. It's been somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. This stuff's supposed to pretty much work right away. So what I did in the meantime, though, I did take a can of compressed air and just lightly kind of blew off the excess. This stuff is really, really thick. And actually, in hindsight, I'm not sure that the heavy-duty corrosion X is really necessary, to be honest. This stuff is super thick. I mean, it's much thicker than I expected it to be. So at any rate, I did take some compressed air, blew off the excess, which also got rid of all the air bubbles and stuff. I don't want to take the motor out of my kit. I just happen to have another 2200 here that's brand new, and so I got it hooked up to the ESC right now, and as you can see, this stuff is really it's actually pretty nasty. But here I got some plain old tap water straight out of the faucet, and I'll tell you what, before we do that, let's just test this, make sure it's working beforehand. I'm just going to use a little 2-cell LiPo for the test. One thing that's kind of odd, I mean, this does seem to be working, as you can tell. It is working, but the odd thing was I didn't hear it beep. Huh. For some reason, it's not beeping. Normally, you know, if you're familiar with Castle stuff, you know when you first turn it on, it usually beeps. Then again, I've never hooked up this kind of system to a 2-cell either. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. Let's find out. I know it'll beep on a 4S pack. It did beep. It wasn't very loud. It's not as loud as I remember it being, but it did beep, so screw it. We'll go with the 4S for the test. So we're going to completely submerge this down into the water. And I still see that's not good. It's not working. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, it just reset. Now it's working again. But it's out of the water. Yeah. Okay, it's working now. It's completely submerged. I don't know if... I wish you guys could see this better. Let's see if I can move this camera to where you can. Okay, so now you can see it's completely submerged there. You can just see the rotor on the motor. And you can see the light down in there. It's yellow at the moment. We're going to give it some throttle. This is totally working. Here, maybe you can see it better like this. Now I have the reverse locked out on my ESC right now, so you can see the red light, but the motor isn't moving. But as you can tell, this is definitely 100% waterproofed. When I first stuck it in the water, it was really weird because it acted like it was short-circuited. It actually reset when I first set it in the water, but once it reset and it connected, it's working just fine. So anyway, I thought you guys might be interested in seeing this stuff, since pretty much all of the YouTube videos that I've seen out there are on the normal Corrosion X. I figured you guys might want to see the heavy duty stuff and see it demoed. I've seen a couple. One of the reasons why I went with the heavy duty, let me just throw this out there. One of the reasons why I went with the heavy duty, other than the fact that all of the YouTube videos out there were on the normal stuff, was because there's a couple of YouTube videos out there where it shows, basically it shows the electronics being protected in terms of, you know, they dunked them in the water and they pulled them out and they still worked once they came out of the water. But while they were in the water, it was kind of like it was short-circuiting. It was like I saw one guy do a servo. He coated a servo and dunked it underwater, and when the servo was underwater, it would move, but it was very erratic. And I'm actually seeing a little bit of that right now that it's just sitting there in the water. I can hear my motor just kind of barely just glitching. So you wouldn't want to use Corrosion X, apparently, if you are going to submerge your kit, because it might not be 100% reliable. But for waterproofing, for, you know, getting it waterproofed enough to run through puddles, and I mean, you could submerge it temporarily, but you wouldn't want to try to run it submerged, or try to run it on top of the water or whatever. But for the most part, it seems to be working great. So I'm going to pull this out of here and let it dry off, and I'm going to put everything together, and I'm going to go hit the snow with it. I'm going to try to get some video of that, if I can find somebody to help me take the video. And that's it for this one. If you got any questions or comments, you can hit me up on my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Graywolf Studios 74, or you can also email me at graywolfstudios74@gmail.com. Peace.